Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we're talking about trains coming soon. I know that sounds crazy for Rust Console Edition, for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, next generations, and everything in between. And I'm Jade Monkey. Okay, so I know that sounds nuts. You're like, how could this even possibly be a thing? Because performance has been a thing. It's taken so long for updates to come through. How is this even a possibility? Well, I'm here to tell you that there's 3 different versions of this floating around, and when I compared all 3 of them, I saw some significant changes that are really pointing towards that big work being done for the Trainyard. Now, I don't think it's coming this year. I don't think it's coming on the front half of 2024. I think it'll be like a Q3 or Q4. I don't know when this is coming in, but there's definitely enough change happening here and things pointing towards the train system definitely being worked on to some capacity. And I think it's a significant amount. So what do I mean? So there's 3 different types of this in existence right now, and I know that's nuts. So we're gonna go into it. So this is the Trainyard as we've known it from when Rust Console Edition came out till right now, or I should say before Horsepocalypse, right? Pretty standard. Well, when we got the PTB update, which is Horsepocalypse update, it had a lot of sneaky changes. And those sneaky changes brought in some definite big significant changes to the Trainyard. And let me kind of break it down for you. So we have the old version, which is going to be before Horsepocalypse, the new version, which will be after Horsepocalypse, and then we have the PC version. Inside of those versions, we have these sections we'll call the left-hand side there, Tower, which is pink, the yellow area, the building zone, and then pipes, purple there on the right. So this is the old version again, and with the breakdown. And then this is the after Horsepocalypse, so we'll call this the new version. So if you see, if you're kind of just paying attention even with the circles, you can see some significant difference. But when I pull back and you can see old and new together, you really start to see some of these changes. And if you're paying attention, you can see something even more significant, that we have these crazy sockets on the back side and these train tracks that are actually being directed that will be used in the future. So as you look at these two, now let's look at the new version. Again, anything after August 31st, 2023, also known as Horsepocalypse. By the way, what a great update, because yes, we get transportation, but there's all these other like sneaky updates happening. Like we had significant changes to some of the monuments. We have scientists added to this, by the way, so be on the lookout for that. I'm sure we'll run into it when we do an example here. But if you're looking at this version, now look at the PC version. And now things really start to make sense. You're like, that's a whole nother building on the left side and a catwalk, and you would be correct. That's wild. And we're gonna break it down, because I really think this is showing significant progress for the train system. Okay, so let's break down the tower first, and hopefully all this makes sense. I was just so excited to show you, and I went out and captured all this stuff, and I was like, okay, let's take a look. Okay, so the old version right here, you can see the back section where the tower would be. You can see a significant change. And if you look at the way it's going to be in the future, you can really start to see, like, I didn't think I needed to highlight the tower. It's essentially this thing here. And you can see that there's a catwalk. So if I kind of back up and you see the old version compared to the PC version, you're like, whoa, like there's a lot going on there. And we'll cover the building side there. There's the obvious catwalk, but that's the major piece of this. So the train system is going to eventually be hooked up to, or the train track system is going to be hooked up to things like the Trainyard. Like when we're actually able to move around the work carts of the locomotives on the surface, we can connect cars to them, and then we can bring them up to do like I call it like not a mini game, but an additional puzzle, and that's what the tower does. You pull it under there, and then you can extract more loot. It's kind of like another point of interest inside, high risk, high reward type scenario. And I'll show you how this mechanism works here in a second. But all right, so this is before Horsepocalypse, and then this is after Horsepocalypse. And then if I back up, you can see the PC version compared to our new version, air quotes. Yeah, do you see what I mean? We've got the sockets on the back side to connect these tracks, which is huge, but the tower is missing. But I believe it's just like the Bandit Camp poker tables and the slot machines. They turn them off, or turn some of them off, but the space is still there. So I believe those are all there. I mean, just look at this. There's like a cap on the back here, right? There's like an open part of this catwalk, so they had to do something, so they capped it off. But you can really start to see like some changes in this monument itself, but more to the point that it's got those sockets and it's ready to take on things like the railroad system. So let me, we're going to go over the tower here in a second, but let me talk about the ring road system. So that came in with the terrain update, the /farm update. These are screenshots from the console side. And that is significant because the ring road is essentially the same thing for the tracks. It gets a lot tighter to monuments, which is very important. and it also will interweave with things like the Trainyard at some point. And let's be honest, as like a sidebar here, I mean, after seeing all of these changes, and especially the ring road system, it's almost a foregone conclusion that cars are coming. It's just a matter of when. It's like they're not saying that, but I'm like 99% sure that it is. So wink, there you go. Cars are definitely coming. We don't know when, but there's such a huge indication that it's coming now. But like more to the point, like these train tracks are going to be the most significant indicator of this, because let me switch over to our side here. So you can see the ring road system. We're on the PC side now, obviously, but these dirt paths interconnect. You can see that it actually comes up to all the different monuments. But the train system, the train track system, is very similar to the ring road system, in which it circles the islands just like the road, but it also intertwines with the train yard. And it's getting smart enough. And you can also see that the zones and stuff are actually getting a lot tighter, but we'll cover that here in a second. So hopefully that all made sense. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much on that one. But the ring road system and the track system are definitely a shared system. And the fact that it's getting more robust, and we've got the sockets on the end of this, is definitely crazy. So let me show you what that tower system does real quick, because I think we're definitely heading in that direction. By the way, I don't know if I said this already, but the scientists have been added to some of these monuments, so it might catch us off guard. But when the trains do come in, there will be a difference between a subway system and then the surface trains. I'm of the strong belief that subway trains will come first, just because it's underground. Did that other thing like disconnect off the back? I think it might have. All right, well, let me back this up. So what you can do eventually is load up a work cart or a locomotive like this and bring it to the tower. And then if you bring it under the tower, you can actually operate just a little bit. It's kind of a chunky boy. You can operate. Oop, it's not green, is it? Of course not. Let me back this all the way in. So yes, I think this is a possibility, but I think we might see the subway system first. Because, did I get that right? Okay, it's green, we're good. Because the subway system is under the ground, and what happens is, if you go under the ground, I know we're like seeing things you wouldn't normally see, but once I go underground, the things on the surface won't render when I'm not looking at it. So if you're playing the game normally, you're never going to see the surface if you're in the subway. So things get unrendered and things underground get rendered, so it makes it more feasible as far as performance. Because let's be honest, the cap right now is the core systems. That's the lowest common denominator. Don't mean to be negative, it's just a fact. So when you come here and you've got these dirt cars or like these gravel cars, you can go here and swipe with your green card. Let me stick on the helmet real fast. And when you come inside of here, if you have a fuse, you can operate, I don't know what this thing's called officially in real life. I always want to call this a green elevator, but you can see you've got the dirt cart, and then you can say unload, and it's going to extract, and then it'll start to reveal your bonus for the carts. And these carts do spawn around the world on the tracks, on the surface tracks, I should say. And then sometimes you get loot down here, depending on what you're extracting. Sometimes you get some in the old box. So you gotta take a look. But it's going to reveal more loot right here, and sometimes you can get some mill crates. Sometimes you get big boxes. And what's cool about this is this creates another point of interest inside of an already busy point of interest, the train yard. So it makes it a very high risk, high reward. By the way, there's the scientist right there. You see him? In our version, our new version, we definitely have scientists, so look out. There you go, 2 mill crates and 3 mill crates and 2 boxes. Definitely worth it. I mean, check that. I mean, that's so good. So you can see the manhole here for an easy evacuation. You can see the catwalk on the top. So you can kind of see how all of this ties together. So as it stands now, there's 2 separate train systems. There's the surface trains and the subtrains, or the subways, rather. There is talks about it being connected in the future, but that has yet to exist here on the PC side. So just know they're very different systems as far as like our capability for the console side. But I really think that's going to happen for us because we're starting to see those sockets back here in the tower. Okay, let's move on to the next big piece, which is the building. Also extremely significant. So here's the old version of the building, standard fare. Here is our new version. And that looks a little blurry because I had to kind of zoom it in with the photo because I don't have a custom server to fly around. But you can really see something wild here because we were just there. In this one, you don't even see the foundation for this. But the tower we just looked at, look at that foundation, right? Hot. But if you're looking at the building itself, you see that we don't have a pit here. But on the PC version, also known as our new version, I'll look at this version because we have a better angle, but we actually have the pit. You can see it right there. And it created this like fence area, so it just makes it a bit different as far as you know, making the approach on the puzzle. There are more scientists on the interior, but you'll notice that the building structure here has this extra metal piece on the outside, and we have this in our new version. Again, that's the PC version, if I didn't say. And so you can see it right here. But the big difference is, if you're looking at both of them, that catwalk has been turned off, and clearly the tower as well. But it looks like there's room for it, doesn't it? And even that little manhole we were talking about is right there, right? It's a thing. So, yeah, we have this extra addition on the back. You can even see, I don't know what this is called. Is this a crane lift? Or I'm sorry, a cargo lift? I don't know what that's called. I want to call it a high-low, but it's not. You can see that was added too, and our old version has nothing like that in the back. As a matter of fact, it starts to look pretty plain back there, right? So you can really start to see how much has been added. Yeah, the building addition is definitely really nice. And it's just some extra sneaky spots to kind of schloop around and get some ducats. And I've noticed too that these cargo container lifts, seem to have a bit more loot on the top, which is nice. And at some point we will have aerial vehicles, so like these top lifts definitely become a lot more significant. And it's just different ways to attack and defend when you're on the monument itself, making it a lot more exciting. Yeah, awesome, right? So yes, after the Horsepocalypse update, we'll see this version, and you'll be able to run around even on top of this little area here. You can actually walk up here and then make the jump and then land here and kind of explore a little bit if you want to. Or, you know, wait for somebody. They'll definitely be surprised because they'll be like, what? I didn't know you could get in there. And then let's go on to the last section we noticed as we're making the large comparison. The pipe system, this is for the old, and here is our new version. And this is significant because you'll notice that this back pipe, there used to be a mound and like a pipe that comes up here to connect, and there used to be some loot. Well, you notice that's gone, and there's also the pump jack, got slid around the back. And that's because they're making room for things like the track system, the dirt system, the road system. But more importantly, the if I kind of pull back here, I don't know how to really explain this. So we're all familiar with the no build zone around monuments. Well, there's another zone, which I don't know what we call it, but I guess it's the monument zone, where other monuments are allowed or not allowed around it. So you notice that they're a lot closer. Sewer branches extremely close to the train yard, and that's starting to happen here. You can see that the road system is now interweaving with the train yard and even crossing the tracks here. Again, a huge tip of the fedora to the fact that cars are coming. But more importantly, because of the track system, but we're going to need to have more room for these monuments because we have so many different pieces that are actually interacting with these monuments, and we have so many more monuments than we did prior. And as far as people will be asking me this, they're like, well, how big are the maps going to be? I think they can go up to 4K. Just know that the standard PC map is 4.25K, so 4,250 kilometers. Yeah, so we're awfully close to that, because remember, it's all squared. So we need to have that different room, and that happened for us on the PC side not too long ago. These different, see how close the gas station is to the power plant? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That never would have happened in old Rust. Do you know what I'm talking about? Hopefully you do. Hopefully that makes sense. So that piping system in the back, that subtle change kind of shows you the zoning is changing, and that monuments can be stacked much, much closer to each other, making this a very exciting addition. And again, that subway system, I believe, is going to come first because it's underground. I think this will come after that, and who knows, maybe they get real ballsy and they smash them all together. But I think this is definitely a possibility. The trains are moving at a speed that's not unreasonable. If we've been playing any of the horse update, you know the top end horse moves fast enough, so the trains, move roughly close to that speed. So man, what a time to be playing Rust Console Edition. So many exciting things, and I never would have thought the horse update would have brought us so many like significant changes in addition to the horse stuff. I mean, if you just kind of read between the lines, it's wild to see what's coming. So we do know the next big thing after the Horsepocalypse update is definitely going to be custom servers, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for that. So if you'd like to know more information about custom servers and potentially the bans that are coming, be sure to check out the video on the end screen. And if you see us live, stop by and say what's up. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.